Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my very first video and I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I got for Christmas as well as the books I got at the Barnes & Noble 50% off hardcover sale. To start with the books I got for Christmas, first my husband got me A Touch of Ruin and A Touch of Malice, which are the last two books in the Hades and Persephone series. By Scarlett St. Clair. I already have A Touch of Darkness. It is on my TBR for 2023. I haven't read it yet, but I'm glad I have the whole series now because when I started ACOTAR, I only had the first book and I was devastated when I finished it on the plane, and I literally ran to every single bookstore in the airport and they didn't have the next one. So I had to run to Barnes & Noble on my way home to grab it. So I'm glad that I have the whole series so I don't have to hunt things down when I finish the first one. The next book I got is from my mom. So it's called Eliza and Her Monsters. Her story is a phenomenon. Her life is a disaster. So this is the cover. And I got this in a blind date with a book that my mom got for me, her, and my sister at Thanksgiving to open together. It is signed. Super cool. And the inside cover says, "The best thing you'll read today," posted at 10:46 a.m. on 2/19/14 by Apocalypse Cow. And it almost is like a Reddit post or a blog post. And it says, "Go here, read this, thank me later. In the real world, Eliza Merck is shy, weird, and friendless. Online, she's Lady Constellation, the anonymous creator of the wildly popular webcomic Monstrous Sea. Eliza can't imagine enjoying the real world as much as she loves the online one, and she has no desire to try. Then Wallace Warland, Monstrous Sea's biggest fanfiction writer, transfers to her school. Wallace thinks Eliza is just another fan, and as he draws her out of her shell, she begins to wonder if a life offline might be worthwhile. But when Eliza's secret is accidentally shared with the world, everything she's built, her story, her relationship with Wallace, and even her sanity begins to fall apart." So I think this will be really cool. I love books that have different formats in them, kind of like an epistolary. So this has little bits of her webcomic as well as some chat bits from the fan forums that they're on together. The next thing I got was Alice by Christina Henry. I got this to satisfy the Down a Rabbit Hole prompt for the 52 Book Club's 2023 Reading Challenge. And it says, "In a warren of crumbling buildings and desperate people called the Old City stands a hospital with cinder block walls that echo the screams of the poor souls inside. In the hospital there is a woman. Her hair, once blonde, hangs and tangles down her back. She doesn't remember why she's in such a terrible place. Just a tea party long ago, and long ears and blood. Then one night, a fire at the hospital gives the woman a chance to escape. She tumbles out of the hole that imprisoned her, leaving her free to uncover the truth about what happened to her all those years ago. Only something else has escaped with her, something dark, something powerful, and to find the truth, she will have to track this beast to the very heart of the old city, where the rabbit waits for his Alice." So it seems like it's going to be a very loose interpretation of Alice in Wonderland rather than just a modernization or taking the Alice concept and putting it somewhere else. It kind of makes it a dark reimagining almost. The next thing I got was By a Thread, a Grumpy Boss romantic comedy by Lucy Score. And it drew my attention because when I turned it over, it said, it had this whole big long paragraph that's from the boss's point of view. And then at the bottom, it has the girl's point of view and it says, "Ha, hold my beer, charming." So I thought this would be super fun. And the top little blurb says, "Dominic was staring at me like he couldn't decide whether he loathed me or wanted to French kiss me." And it seems like it's going to be almost like a Grumpy Sunshine office rom-com, so I'm really excited to read this one. The next one is a book that's been on my list for such a long time and I've just never gotten around to it, and it is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I think this came out when I was in high school. It says the cover photo is from 2014 and I graduated in 2015. So this has been around for quite a while and I've just never gotten around to it. And I'm really excited because it seems like it's going to be really similar to the Inheritance games in that it's about a wealthy or well-to-do family saying they live off a private island, on a private island off the coast of the Massachusetts in the summertime. Makes it seem like a bunch of rich kids with a lot to hide and some secrets and things like that. So I'm very excited. I've been a lot into thriller and horror lately, which is really fun because I've basically been avoiding that genre my whole life. So I'm trying to soak up as much of it as I can. And the last is Darling Girl by Liz Michalski, which I'm over the moon excited about. I have loved Peter Pan since I was very little. I even have a second star to the right tattoo on my left arm that I got when I was studying abroad in England, and I just have always loved Peter Pan. I've always loved all the adaptations, and I've been reading book adaptations for a while. I read Tiger Lily when I was in high school, and I really loved that. I started reading Wendy Darling over the summer, and it was really scary and it creeped me out, so I put it aside, and eventually I'll get to it. But I'm very excited to read this one. It's kind of like a modernization almost. It's about Wendy's granddaughter who runs like a skincare company, and she has a son, and all of a sudden like her daughter that was in a coma disappears. And she immediately knows it's because Peter has arrived and taken her away to Neverland. So I'm really excited to see how they continue with the story. And they talk about Jane and things like that. So how Peter kind of manifests in the future. Because he is a timeless being. And I think that seeing him in other settings is really satisfying. Because it's a story that seems like it's gone on long before Wendy's story, and it obviously we know it's gone on afterwards because Jane exists and all of that. I'm excited to see where they bring him in the future. So those are all of the books that I've gotten for Christmas through book exchanges. I do the Pop Sugar Secret Santa book exchange every year, and my mom actually started a book exchange this year that is about the Icelandic tradition of buying loved ones books on Christmas Eve along with their favorite chocolate. So you stay up all night and eat chocolate and read this new book, which we really love doing together when it's our year to spend Christmas together. And I am glad that she's sharing that tradition with others and spreading the word about it. I don't know how it's pronounced, so I'm not going to try, but I know that it translates to The Book Flood. And actually an author that I follow on Instagram actually just wrote a children's book about it, so I'm going to add that to my list as well. And next we have all of the books that I got at the Barnes & Noble 50% off hardcover sale. So not all of them are hardcover, but they are books that I bought during the sale. So the first book is Better Than Fiction by Alexa Martin, and it is about a young woman whose grandmother dies and bequeaths her bookstore to her granddaughter, and she hates reading. She thinks the movie is always better, and she doesn't want to read books. And then the group of dirty old ladies who run the bookshop's book club decide that they're gonna like meddle and hook her up with the young author who is coming to do a book signing at the shop. So the last paragraph of the summary really caught my attention. When messy family ties jeopardize the future of the book nook, Drew is caught between a bookshelf and a hard place. She's reminded that real life isn't always big dreams and sweeping romance, but Jasper is the plot twist she never saw coming, and he's writing a happily ever after just for them. I've always wanted to read a romance that takes place in and around a bookstore. I've read a lot that kind of like dance around bookstores, like Well Met. She works in a bookstore, and I've read a couple cozy mysteries that involve bookstores, but never one that's been about loving books and using your love of reading to kind of speak your romance from your heart, and I'm really excited to see how this does. The next one is Cake Eater by Allison Dollin. I love the cover design for this one. It's just so pastel and beautiful. And then under the book, the dust jacket, there's also like this really pretty pink cover with the blue writing on the spine. And this takes place in 3070 at Versailles. And Marie Antoinette is like TikTok famous, and she's there to marry Louis Auguste. But he's not really interested in her, so she distracts herself with parties and after parties, and they kind of both discover that there's something deeper and more sinister going on in Versailles, so they team up to figure out how to stop it. And I'm really excited. It's gonna be kind of like a historical, I don't want to say historical fiction, but a history-influenced dystopian future fiction. Kind of reminds me of Gemina a little bit, and I think it's going to be really interesting. The next I got is Goth by Atsuichi, which was recommended via YouTube by a creator that I followed when I first started getting into book journaling. And she really loved it, and because I'm getting more into horror and suspense, I thought I might really like it. And it's about a high school girl who's obsessed with serial killers. And she and her friend decide to investigate murders by these serial killers, not because they want to find out who did them and stop them, but because they want to get to know and understand the serial killers. So I'm really excited. And this is also a special edition, apparently, that features a previously untranslated bonus novelette called Marino's Souvenir Photo. So it has a little bit of like an extra story at the end. I'm also hopping on the Elle Kennedy train very late. One of the prompts for the 52 book club is a book about sports, I believe. So I decided to get the off-campus series. I know that apparently they're like super trashy and racy and romancy, but sometimes you just gotta have a fluffy read that you can get through. So I'm really excited to check this out. I know a lot of people really love this series, so I can't wait to see how I feel about it. And who doesn't love a good girl and a bad boy in a relationship of convenience and fake dating and all of those beautiful romantic tropes all in one book? Because I certainly do. Next, for my celebrity memoir of the year, I don't like nonfiction. I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I do try to push myself to read a memoir about someone I care about every year, as part of like my goal to learn more about the people I kind of like fangirl over. So this past year I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, which was so dry and funny and wonderful and also so sad. So I decided that this year I was going to read Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton, because I have loved Harry Potter since I was very little. It was really the first book, other than the Junie B. Jones series, that got me into reading. So I decided that I would check this out. I already read the foreword by Emma Watson before I bought it. And I love their friendship and how much they love each other no matter what. So I'm really excited to see how his acting career brought him to Harry Potter, especially since he wasn't a fan of the books. And I've seen The Borrowers, which was one of the movies he was in before Harry Potter, I believe. So really looking forward to reading this one. He seems like he's really funny, and very honest, and he writes beautifully, so this is definitely something I'm looking forward to. The next one I picked as part of my Elfster wish list for all of the book exchanges I did this year. And I will admit I picked it based on the cover. But I picked Reader, I Murdered Him by Betsy Cornwell. And I've been very into Bridgerton. I read the first 4 books when Once Upon a Book Club released their special edition Bridgerton box. And I'm waiting for my last 4 books for the second volume of their Bridgerton box. It should be shipping any day now, and hopefully I will have it by February because I plan on trying to read the last 4 books in one weekend as part of like a Valentine's Day romance readathon kind of thing. And my mom, who is also very into reading, she's on Instagram. You can follow her here, as well as her Blind Date with a Book Small Business here. She really loves Bridgerton as well, so I'm hoping that when we both get our special editions that she'll want to do a buddy read with me. But this one is Reader, I Murdered Him. And Betsy Cornwell writes a lot of different fantasy books. And this one says, Adele grew up in the shadows, first watching from backstage at her mother's Parisian dance halls, then wandering the gloomy, haunted rooms of her father's manor. When she was finally sent away to boarding school in London, she's happy to enter the brightly lit world of society girls and their wealthy suitors. Yet there are shadows here too. Many of the men who try to charm Adele's new friends harbor dark intentions. After a violent assault, she turns to a roguish young con woman for help. Together they become vigilantes, meting out justice. But can Adele save herself from the same fate as those she protects? With a queer romance at its heart, this lush historical thriller offers readers an irresistible mix of vengeance and empowerment. I just can't wait. It sounds glorious, and it kind of reminds me of Hunting Jack the Ripper, and that women are taking their fate into their own hands after the world has kind of wronged them. So I'm really, really excited for this one. This is another series that I've kind of been sleeping on. When I was looking for Disney books to read, I'm a big Disney fan, as you can tell. I've got my little Beauty and the Beast shelf here. I really love Disney books. I've always really loved Disney. I read The Kingdom Keepers when I was age appropriate for them. I believe that was like 7th or 8th grade. So I wanted to continue reading Disney literature. I read Reflection, which is the twisted tale of Mulan, and I really did not like it. There were bits and pieces that were interesting, like I really like mythology. The Percy Jackson books are my all-time favorite, so I was really into a lot of the folklore that was part of it, but it did not capture my attention, and I was reading it for a buddy read, so I like had to finish it, and it was not fun. But I've heard great things about the Serena Valentino Disney villain books. So my sister bought this for me at the hardcover sale while we were there yesterday. And this is Fairest of Them All, A Tale of the Wicked Queen. The tale of the young Princess Snow White and her evil stepmother, the Wicked Queen, is widely known. Despite a few variations from telling to telling, the story remains the same. The queen was jealous of the girl's beauty, and this jealousy culminated in the queen's attempt on the sweet, naive girl's life. Another tale far less often spoken of is the one that explains what caused the queen to become so vile. Still, some have attempted to guess at the reason. Perhaps the queen's true nature was that of a wicked hag, and her beautiful appearance a disguise to fool the king. Others claim that the queen might have hated the girl for her resemblance to the king's first wife. Mostly the queen is painted as a morally abhorrent woman who never loved another being during the course of her miserable life. In fact, the theories about exactly what caused the queen's obsessive vanity and jealous rage are too numerous to catalog. This first book in the villain series recounts a version of the story that has remained untold until now. It is a tragic tale of love and loss, and it contains a bit of magic. It is the tale of the Wicked Queen. And it also contains teaser chapters for the 4th book in the series, Mistress of All Evil, which is Maleficent's tale, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is the first book in the series. I was told I had to read them in order because they kind of... Yeah, Fairest of All, okay. Because they kind of intertwine. So I'm excited to see how these villains match up, because when you watch the Disney movies, a lot of them are you know, set in that fairy tale medieval time, like Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all of the, like, basic princesses. But I believe Ursula and Captain Hook have one of these. And, like, you know, Beauty and the Beast and stuff, and those were all in very different eras in time. So I'm really interested to see how these villains actually pair up and intertwine when their stories take place during such different time periods. And the last book I got is Creep by Lygia de Peñaflor. I could watch them together all day, maybe forever. They're that beautiful. I wish I could. I wish. And this is a love story from the perspective of the guy that is stalking the couple that the love story is about. And it's going to be so creepy, and I'm so excited. I'm probably going to have to, like, lock all my doors and sleep with the lights on for, like, 2 months after I read it. But I am going through a bit of a Criminal Minds phase right now, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. And I saw this advertised, I think, on either my Instagram or my Facebook, and I read the synopsis, and I just knew I had to read it. It says, Lainey Villanueva and Nico Fiore are the perfect senior couple. Beautiful, popular, talented, and hopelessly in love. Everyone looks up to them at Holy Family High School. But Raffi doesn't just admire them. She watches them. She's drawn to them. Intent on becoming their closest friend, Raffi weaves her way into their lives. She starts small, taking photos of the senior class for the yearbook, joining Lainey's club, and babysitting Nico's little sister, and it works. Soon they invite her to parties, take her on joyrides, ask her for favors. Raffi's actions quickly turn into invasive, delving deeper and deeper until she's consumed by their most intimate secrets. When tragedy strikes the young lovers, Raffi's obsession spirals, and she will do anything to keep the perfect couple together. Anything. I am uncomfortable, and I can't wait to read it. And that is all. Those are all the books that I got this Christmas season, either as gifts or at the hardcover sale. I'm really looking forward to making more videos for this channel. I'll probably do a little bit of journaling, a little bit of book recommendations. We'll do some reading vlogs as well as life vlogs. I'm helping my mom kickstart her small business, so again, that's right here. Give her a follow, and she's on Etsy. It's really cute. So there will be a little bit of that too, I'm sure. And I'm just excited to see where this journey takes us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next page.